about 90% of you in the audience have no idea what a glioblastoma is, but if we polled the audience, I'm sure about 10% of you would have someone that you know, a loved one, a family member, someone who's had to deal with glioblastoma, suffered from it, and most likely died from it. What glioblastoma is the #1 most malignant, aggressive, cancerous tumor that grows in the brain. We see it in mostly 60, 50-year-olds, but we see it in all age ranges. And it uniformly, today, in 2016, takes everyone's life. I'm a brain surgeon. My day job is making punctures. And I open up skulls, and I operate in the brain. And for the vast majority of tumors, we can take them out. Patient goes home in a couple of days. They do great. I've been doing this for 23 years, as Maisha mentioned, but if you add my residency years, that's another 7 years. So I've been doing this for 30 years. And the treatment of this tumor and the success of our treatment of this tumor has not changed in 30 years. 11 years ago, a new drug came on the market, helped us a little bit, added 2 months of survival. That's not saying a lot, especially in the year 2016. Let's look at what I'm trying to talk about today. This tumor eludes us. It's evasive. It grows in a much different way than any other tumor in the entire body. So this talk today on glioblastoma is special because it's a special tumor. It doesn't grow like a snowball. It doesn't get larger and larger. It grows insidiously through the brain. I'll explain that. The picture on the left is a normal MRI. The picture on the right is glioblastoma. That big white thing looks pretty nasty. Spreads its way through the brain slowly. That's another form of glioblastoma. It's called a butterfly glioma because the shape of it looks like wings of a butterfly. All that's doing is the tumor is literally invading both hemispheres. That's how invasive it is. This is a glioblastoma, and this is a glioblastoma. So it can be multifocal in many places in the brain at once. The nasty tumor. Why has it eluded us all this time? Why have all the great minds in science and medicine not been able to figure out this tumor? We have lots of great new cures for various things, but not this. It is a common tumor. It only makes up 15% of all of the brain tumors that we see, but that's a large number. 3 out of 100,000 people, considered incurable, and if you're a person and you all of a sudden start getting headaches, maybe you have a seizure, epilepsy, maybe you have a neurologic problem like you can't speak, or you have a paralysis, kind of like a stroke, it might be a glioblastoma. Our treatment is fairly stable over the last 30 years. Radiation and chemotherapy. We have new treatments, immunotherapy, vaccines, TTF, a lot of different variations on the theme, but frankly, none of them have made a huge impact. Only 2% of people live more than 3 years with this disease. If you didn't treat it, you'd be dead in an average of 3 months. So the reason is, because when we look at a GBM on an MRI, this looks like a couple of tumor areas, right? If we do a special MRI sequence, a special inversion recovery it's called, we see this. So it's not just those 2 areas. It actually is that an entire quadrant of the brain. The tumor cells have literally taken over and started mobilizing like little troops through the brain from where they started. There's an epicenter. Where this tumor starts is one problem, and that's where it probably began. But then it spreads throughout the brain in this fashion. And look at this picture. This is the brain. So if you're a surgeon, you cannot take that out. That is inoperable. That's actually in that patient's speech area. Not only would you make them unable to speak, but you'd also make them unable to move their right side of the body. So there's a quandary. How do you treat this tumor and what can we do that's different about it? So, you see, this has come into the news as well. Beau Biden just succumbed to this. That's Vice President Biden's son, dear and beloved son, just a little bit ago. Senator Ted Kennedy had this. So it is in the press. We've seen it recently. We've heard about vaccines, polio virus, that type of thing. Problem with the tumor is it can't be cut out. So that led me to start thinking how this really works. Okay? How does this tumor get through the brain? Well, I told you earlier that most tumors that come to the brain or start in the brain, they grow like a snowball. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. Those are easy to take out. They're usually benign. You take out the whole tumor, the patient's doing fine. That's not how glioblastoma works. It doesn't grow like a snowball. This is a Jell-O mold of the brain. You can actually buy this if you want. Good at parties. But when I talk to patients, I tell patients that the brain is like a bowl of Jell-O with a saran wrap around it. The saran wrap is what makes the shape, and then once you get through that little membrane called the pia arachnoid, once you're through that, the brain is exactly like Jell-O. Well, then I searched the internet for a picture that might depict a brain tumor in Jell-O. Hard to find. But this is the closest I got. And this is a Jell-O mold with numerous strawberries in it. Pretend each strawberry is a tumor. Everybody in this room could take a little knife, cut through, grab the strawberry, ease it out slowly, and the Jell-O would come back together, wouldn't it? It's as if you hadn't taken out any Jell-O at all. In fact, that's what most brain tumors are. They're like a strawberry in Jell-O. You take the strawberry out, the brain comes back, everything's hunky-dory. In the case of glioblastoma, the tumor is the Jell-O.